BSU boldly moving forward.
Hey, Bowie State University, Bulldog Nation. It's your host, Carla Henry Hopkins of A Bold Take, and we want to welcome you again for our podcast, which is the official Bowie State University podcast, where we highlight people, stories, and bulldog brilliance that is shaping our community. Who do we invite? Oh, we invite alumni, faculty, staff, students, community members, whoever wants to be a part of the discussion. And so today we have a riveting panel again. We've been doing it all semester. I tell you, I don't know where my assistant producer, Tariq, finds the people, but he finds them and gets them here. Today's episode, The Gift That Keeps on Giving, the Bowie Way, it's all about the heart of Bowie State University, and it's all about how we give back, how we utilize what is the best of us to make sure that this historic and wonderful institution that is the first HBCU in the state of Maryland keeps on. And so whether that's through scholarships, mentorship, service, or everyday moments of generosity, Bulldogs, we show up for each other in a way that keeps the legacy moving. Do we not? Yes, we do. And so we don't have a live studio audience today, but my guests are live enough. We don't need an audience. We're taking culture, commitment, and community impact, the kind of giving that just doesn't help one person, but it really strengthens the Bulldog ecosystem. And so when we give other people permission to give behind us, right? And it just keeps going. Let me tell you, I have a phenomenal panel today. I'm excited because literally I know everybody. That doesn't happen. But I'm going to be professional. I'm just going to give you their bio. I'm still going to give you their official bio because they are the guests of A Bold Take today. We're going to start with Miss Bowie State University. We are graced with the 79th Miss Bowie State University. Her name is Andrea Newman, and she's a student leader and campus ambassador for excellence. She represents us well, y'all, and her beauty and her brilliance is just a piece of how she represents us. Her platform reflects servant leadership and student-centered advocacy, and she's a living example of giving, which is power in action. And thank you, Miss Bowie State, for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
And then I want to say, here come the judge, but that would be too much, right? But we're going to say it anyway. He's the Honorable Todd M. Turner. He's the Executive Director of the Prince George's County Office of Ethics and Accountability. He is a former county and city council member. He is a proud member of the Board of Visitors, and it has been my pleasure to work with Judge Turner for a couple of years now. I think we've been engaging. Yep. He's a true public servant in his profession, but also in the way that he gives back with his time. And thank you, Judge, for being here today.
Thank you for the upgrade in my title.
And we're going to go to Brian. Let me tell y'all, when I first started at Bowie State University back in 2019, he was one of the first young men that I met. He was still a student here, but he is an amazing creative storyteller, videographer, social media strategist, and not just for student engagement, but really for the whole campus. You know, he, in my early days, if you remember this, Brian, when we started as a Facebook show back in 2020, Brian was kind of like my pseudo producer, like, you need to do this, you need to do that. And Instagram Live, I so appreciate him because you see how far we've come from Facebook and Instagram right into the podcast world. And much of that was from a lot of his tutelage and support as we were trying to get alumni engaged around conversation. He's a Bowie-made creator, elevating voices and capturing the essence of campus life. Thanks, Brian, for coming through today. And then, you know, it's my pleasure to introduce, you know, it's always appreciated. It's always nice to be appreciated at home, right? And so these are my home folk. They are my colleagues and coworkers that work in philanthropic engagement. The reason why you all should know them in the podcast community is because they are the hard workers behind the scenes, making things happen so that the university can be strengthened fiscally. Oftentimes, they are not faces that are at mics, but they are certainly drilling down on making sure that the stewardship portal as well as our donors are being paid attention to, being attentive to, and just, you know, being appreciated, because we know that all of you could make all kinds of choices of where you want your monies, your time, and your talent to go, but you chose Bowie State. And so these are two of the people who are really, really close to our donors and stewards. The first is Steve Stevens. The second, I got to put the second on it because it's another one rolling out here somewhere.
Right.
He is a philanthropy officer, and he's a longtime community builder from Greek life to the Social Justice Alliance here at Bowie State University. Steve's leadership and generosity runs deep in the Bulldog family, and you know, we jokingly say we cousins. And so y'all meet my cousin Steve Stevens. Thanks, Steve, for being here today. And then this young lady happens to be on my staff, wonderful addition to the Office of Alumni Engagement. And let me tell y'all, she has not been here that long, but you wouldn't know it. She has just, she has saturated herself in the Bowie State University way. Her name is Aaliyah Marshall. She's an entrepreneur also. She's a motivational speaker, but she's also, for the purposes of this conversation, a donor engagement and stewardship manager. And what does that mean? It means that just what it is, she manages our donors. She makes sure that they're getting the information at Bowie State University, that they're being communicated to, that they're being celebrated when they are having highlights in their own life. And she does that as well for our alumni. And so she's a visionary who empowers women to rebuild and rise, and she's a champion for meaningful philanthropy, being a recipient of such gifts when she herself was an undergrad. And so, you know, her why comes to work every day. And thank you, Aaliyah, for being here today. Those are our guests. Aren't they phenomenal?
Right.
Yes. So now that we have introduced everyone, and you know that we have people here who are going to be talking from all different lenses about philanthropy and what it means, that's where we're going to start. When you hear the phrase, and I'm going to start with Ms. Bowie, when you hear the phrase giving back, or hear people talk about giving back, what's the first thing that comes to mind for you? Mike?
Anytime I hear the phrase giving back, I automatically think about my roots and where I came from, returning what I have now to the people, whether that be scholarship, wisdom, advice. I always go back to thinking I have something now, but there were people that gave back to me in order for me to get here, so it's important that I return it.
Very nice. I like that. Brian, what about you? When you think about the phrase giving back, what comes to mind for you?
Are we really going to have a conversation, or we just?
Oh, no, we really having a conversation.
All right, cool.
Didn't you hear the name of the show? The show's called A Bold Take.
Oh,
so we boldly take it.
All right, cool.
Yes.
All right, so we have this conversation all the time in my office. You know what I'm saying? And why, right? A lot of times the conversation that's being had with whether it may be alumni, the younger alumni and like the older alumni, we're usually talking about the younger alumni, like the ones that kind of like just graduated. They should be giving back a little bit more, you know what I'm saying? But I know I think that it's tough. I think that it's hard because like when you graduate, you're first and foremost thinking about, hey, what am I about to do with the rest of my life?
Sure.
You know what I mean? So I think at a certain age, you're kind of able to go ahead and give back in a way that the institution is kind of how they're taking it.
We're going to talk about that in a minute, but I'm interested in hearing from you when people say, what does give back mean to you? What does that mean to you?
I don't know. Giving back, I guess giving back with like no reason behind it. You know what I mean? A lot of people when they do give back, they're expecting to get something from it. You know what I mean? But like on my side and how we kind of think, you kind of supposed to give back without even like thinking about it.
I like it. I like it. Thank you so much for sharing. Mr. Turner?
Well, for me, it's it's an opportunity to say I've done something that makes me feel good. If you really think about that. Taking up on Brian's comment, I mean, not doing it because you're trying to get some benefit. Yeah. Now, in my business, my former business anyway, getting recognition was what it was about because you got to get elected. But it's some of my former people that I used to work for, made a distinction between, whether or not you're a show horse or you're a workhorse.
Yeah, I like that.
And so I've always tried to be the workhorse. Wow. Not to say you can't have some show as part of that, but, it's about providing that not only benefit to the organization and Bowie State University, but, feeling fulfilled in what you're doing.
Thank you for sharing that. I want to get to my colleagues on this question only because we talk about it ad nauseum every day, this notion of giving back, and we dig deep, and I think that's what brings us the drive in our division, and a shout out to philanthropic engagement on today. What do you think about, Aaliyah, when you think about giving back?
So when I think about giving back, it's always something that's personal, something I went through and wouldn't want somebody else to go through. So it's like a, reach one type of thing. In any way, shape, or form, we're all at a point where we might need. And so today I am a gifter. Tomorrow I can be a receiver. So that's where I consider, giving is just a constant reminder of this can be you in need.
Yeah.
And so I give, like Brian said, I love that, without the idea of any return. And again, like Judge Turner said, it's fulfilling. It really is.
Judge Turner, you're gonna be a judge today. We're gonna make you a judge today.
Don't tell my wife that. She's the one in the court system. So.
I like that. Thank you for sharing, because it does have you to reflect. Why am I giving to what am I giving? And what if it was me, right? Yes. And what would I want people to do? Steve, you want to finish this up with this?
Yeah, most definitely. So I look at it from a two-headed, monster, if you will. I guess the first thing is Sankofa. Growing up, we were always stressed that principle of understanding that you can't go forward until you understand what's behind you. And so giving back is a reflection to the giant shoulders that I stand on. It also pays a legacy to them. And it also helps to make our future stronger. So when we give back, we understand that we are reflecting in the past, but we are preparing the future. And so I definitely look forward to giving back, and that's really the motivation why I do this work. The second part is the students. I mean, that's the true motivation for everything that we do on this campus, and understanding that if we can help a student to get through matriculation and get to graduation, then we've done our job. And
Thank you. That's I can always count on him to be profoundly impactful with his statement. As I thought about what you all were talking about, I was like, well, I want to talk about what giving means to me, because, I think that oftentimes we don't even realize, that while we are helping someone else, we're also helping ourselves in the giving. So oftentimes when I'm giving, I'm not thinking about all of the things that are going on wrong with whatever's going on wrong with my life at this point. There is a organic kind of sentiment that happens when you're able to place, no matter how much you have, whether it's little or it's much, whether it's your time, whether it's something in your capacity, moving something forward, gives you joy, I think, for me. So I give because I love joy. I want to feel good every day about something and not be so focused on what's going on with me, knowing that, to Aaliyah's point, that there's someone who can't show up the way that I'm showing up on today, who would want to show up that way. And so, giving is an opportunity for me to have gratitude. And to be thankful about the fact that I was able to get an education. I was able, I'm able to, be a homeowner. I'm able to do all these things that other people may not be able to do. And, maybe my seed will, be accumulated with so many other seeds to help people be able to actualize their dreams as well. Because my dream is no bigger than anybody else's, right? And so I just wanted to share that briefly. But that brings me to, I wanted to go back to something that Brian talked about, and it's not in my script of notes right now. We'll get back to, my second question that I wanted to ask. But one of the things he mentioned, I think is so key, that when we talk about this thing about giving, and particularly with generations, and we talk about, you talked about the younger alum and older alum, and sometimes the hesitancy around giving is about I don't have this, and maybe the university wants me to give in this way. I want to really have a little discussion about that, because I want to go ahead and normalize some things, and I want to dispel some things at the same time if we can. Of course, recently we had the big gift, right, from Mackenzie Scott's $50 million to Bowie State University.
Thank you.
Ever so grateful, Ms. Scott and her team, and anyone who was connected to that. Another shout out to my team, Philanthropic Engagement, also. But we know that will help to sustain students, right? But Mackenzie Scott doesn't have a Bowie State University degree, right? But she's a philanthropist, and if she was sitting here today, she probably would tell us her why of why she gives and gives so freely. But not everybody can give $50 million, $25 million, $10 million, or whatever, right? Not everybody can give $1,000. Not everybody can give $500. But everybody can give something. Right. And so I want to go ahead and dispel this notion, particularly for younger alum. And I want to tell just a brief story, and then I want to have a conversation around it. I'm not going to name the person, but we do have an alum who has an endowed gift here at Bowie State University. She graduated about maybe 40 years ago. And she graduated with a degree in education. We all know that educators don't get paid a whole lot of money, but they, without educators, none of us would be sitting around this table, right? When she was a young woman and got her first job as a teacher, she decided that she would, every time she got paid, that she would give Bowie State University whatever that was. I'm going to make it up. This is not true. I'm gonna give Bowie State $10. Okay, every time I get paid. She did that. Every time she got a promotion, she upped it a little bit. Now it's $25. Okay, now I'm an administrator. I'm gonna go ahead and give $100 every time I get paid. And so we are now in 2025, and that person is a major donor. Can you imagine over 40 years consistently giving? I tell that story so that young people particularly can understand it's not about your amount, it's about your commitment, and it's about your consistency. And so when we are consistent with $5, when we are consistent with $10, when we are consistent, that's saying I believe in the product that made me, and so I'm going to continue to sow into that, or the product that I believe has investment. And so I just want to get people's take on that. Ms. Bowie, I want to hear from you about, do you think having an illustration or a story like that to younger people, do you think that would resonate with them, that every gift matters, no matter, we're not looking, institutions don't look at the amount, they look at the consistency, and they look at the heart of the giver. What is it that, we can appeal to with this giver who has given even $10?
I think that shows that even a little bit of money or anything, it'll take you a long way. You might not, like Brian touched on earlier, you might not be able to start off giving $1 million, but I feel like for students, for us to see somebody consistently pouring back into the institution, that means that the institution resonated with you. That means that right now where you're at, you believe that somebody poured enough into you that you're willing to pour back. I always say, nobody's glass is 100% full. But if I have 50, I'm willing to give you 20%. I'm willing to give you 10% because I know at one point my glass was empty too. And as a student, the perspective of looking in that somebody for 40 years, even if it was $5, that meant that you believed in my journey, you believed in my destiny. And your story is kind of written for you, kind of know where you're going. Some people have it all figured out right now, 40 years from graduating. But somebody like me who's in my senior year, it feels good to know that the alumni care enough to uplift me, to help me, because there's students that don't have that. There's students that I'm waking up and I don't know how my next bill is going to be paid, but your $5 just took some weight off of my shoulders. So It feels good. Even the little moments, I feel like, as a student, that's big. That's like, wow, they actually care. And I feel like the genuine intention behind something weighs much more than the price tag on it.
Well, let the church say amen. Can we say amen?
Amen.
Look, we're going to continue the discussion because I really want to hear more voices about not just dispelling these myths and normalizing giving in some way, but also I want to get in your business a little bit. And if you let me get in your business a little bit, we're going to do that after the break. Stay with us, Bulldogs. We'll be right back after a short break, but you're listening to WBSU, and this is A Bold Take.
You're listening to BSU, Bulldog Nation Radio, and Podcast World. I'm Carla Henry Hopkins, the Director of the Office of Alumni Engagement and Stewardship. And on behalf of BSU and the Office of Alumni Engagement and Stewardship, We are proud to welcome you into an alumni network community of over 45,000 BSU alumni. To stay connected and for more information, please visit bowiestate.edu/alumni or email us at alumni@bowiestate.edu. You might also want to follow us on our social media platforms, Instagram and Facebook, @Bowie Alum.
We're back, Bowie State University and Bulldog Nation. You're listening to A Bold Take, and let me tell you, we have been having a riveting conversation with today's guests around the spirit of giving. We're going to get back into it, but right before then, I got some commercial spots that I got to talk about what's going on with the university. First of all, this is the season of bold, benevolent giving. We're talking about it today, but it's not too late for you to be a part of the Bowie State University spirit. Don't you be left out. You want to be a part of the giving crew at Bowie State University, and you can do so up until December 31st. Don't let the year end if you haven't invested in this phenomenal institution. December 31st, 2025 at 11:59 is your last chance to give your dollar for this year and get a tax break, and we can all use that. So please go to bowiestate.edu and figure out ways in which you want to support your university. As of November, this is already the second largest fundraising year in Bowie State University history, and we are excited about that. I said it before, I'm going to say it again. We got a big gift from Mackenzie Scott, our $50 million gift that's going to help Bowie to be propelled for the next 160 years. We are excited and thankful and grateful in our hearts in the season of gratitude for that gift. And we know that this extraordinary act of generosity is more than a number. It's national recognition of our school, number one, about the transformative work that's happening across Bowie State, from academic innovation to building pathways of opportunity. This gift is going to be fueling every dream of every Bulldog that comes from this point on, and we're excited about that. Hey, a shout out to the fall graduates. Can we shout them out and say congratulations? Congratulations. Fall class of 2025. We are proud of you. We know that your matriculation is just a part of the BSU story. Go on out there and make us Bulldog proud. We're rooting for you, and congratulations again. And let me tell you, I want to thank everyone who gave on Giving Tuesday. Can we thank the community for giving on Giving Tuesday? Thank you again for your bold benevolence. We can't say enough at Bowie State University how much it means to us to have you as our donor roll of people who say Bowie State University matters. We thank you. We thank you. That's about it. That's all I'm going to say right now. We are joined today with a live studio audience who are international students, and we just want to welcome them into the Podcast World Studio today as we're finishing up our conversation around, boldly giving, the Bowie State University bold spirit of giving. And we do have a bold spirit of giving. This podcast really today is just about encouraging people who have wanted to give, who have been tentative for some of the reasons that our panelists have brought up, and we want to dispel some of that. And so right before we went to break, we were talking about this notion that you have to give big or not give at all. That does not sustain anything. Consistency and commitment is what sustains things, right? And so we want to dispel this notion that just because you're 22 and you just got armed with your Bowie State University degree, and maybe you're thinking about grad school, and maybe you don't have a job lined up, or whatever the case is, this is what I want you to do. I want you to put the Starbucks down for one day. And use that $155. No, I'm just kidding. Use that $8, that $6, and go ahead and go online and get a Bowie State. And that makes you a donor. You're automatically a donor. And you're going to start getting all kinds of correspondence from my colleagues and others about being a donor just on your $6 or $7, right? And so it takes all of us, and it takes every amount. Now I'm going to get into my panelist business, because they're all here to talk about giving and the bold spirit of giving, right? And so I'm going to get personal. I want to start, let me see who I'm going to start with Miss Bowie State. Miss Bowie State is looking beautiful, and so all the glamour is coming this way. What does giving look like personally in your world? And how has Bowie State shaped the way that you show up for others? So I want you to talk from a personal perspective. I want to know, who are you as a philanthropist?
I actually love this question. Actually, yesterday, another one of my classmates asked me, if you've been through so much, why is the first thing on your mind giving back to somebody else? So I love that we're having this. And for me, I might not have much to give, but my story is powerful. So when I show up, I know that I've been through a lot, and I just feel like because everybody else has not walked my story, walked my path, my biggest thing is making sure that I'm uplifting somebody else. I'm letting somebody else know that this is attainable. At 14 years old, I was told it wasn't. I was told that, my life might not ever be the same, but coming to Bowie showed me that it was 10 times greater. And so while I'm here, while I'm at a university, an institution that has done nothing but made me a better person, find who Andrea is outside of the crown, outside of the titles. I have so many people around me at this school that's poured into me that the only thing I do when I wake up in the morning, whether I'm having a good or a bad day, I want to make an impact on somebody. So giving for me means using my story, using my trials, using the obstacles that I overcame to inspire and uplift the students that look like me that didn't think that this would be possible.
That's a great answer. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so let me see. I'm going to go ahead and get in Mr. Turner's business. I already know part of this answer. But, what does giving look like in your personal world? And how does it show up? And then why is Bowie important to you in that respect?
When I got invited for this podcast, I always look back and say, because I always thought it was alumni. So I'm not an alumni. Obviously, I'm a community person. Actually, I'm celebrating 20 years this year of our relationship with Bowie State University. When I first became a city council member in the city of Bowie and got to know what Bowie was about, kind of knew about it a little bit, but got directly involved in it. And so, obviously, in my political career, I've been supportive, both as far as issues that are going on, supporting what the institution is doing. Eventually, when I got into positions where we actually had some money, providing money to the university, and now I'm no longer in that elected official capacity, and I was a little restricted about what I could do after I got out of the county council. Now giving back because of the relationship that we've had over the 20 years period. And so, like I said before, being the workhorse, you volunteer, you do the work, and that's why I'm on the board of visitors now. Yeah, I can give a little bit of treasure as well, but it's an opportunity for me to still impact the institution from the community perspective, even though I don't have a direct connection to Bowie State as a graduate. Although I might have one in the future, I don't know. We'll see. So it's that the importance of Bowie State University to the community that I live in, and that relationship that has developed over that period of time. Said, well, give back again in this kind of capacity since you're able to at this point in your life.
That's amazing, and we love our community members for that. You don't have to be an alum. We're going to go ahead and adopt you as a bulldog anyway. We already did that.
Gotcha. Thank you.
But, that's even more so when you have community members who necessarily didn't have a degree from here, but really believe in the product that's Bowie State University. Steve, tell me about your world. Tell me about how giving shows up in your world.
Wow. So we talk about this often, you and I. We talk about the 3 T's, right? Mm-hmm. Time, talent, and treasure. And so whether it's here at Bowie State or the university that I am an alum of, Langston University, I'm always finding something to volunteer for, whether it's back home. I am currently the lead for our DC Alumni Association through Langston. But here, it's all about sewing in to students. I still advise about 2 or 3 organizations on campus. And just my overall job of fundraising, I tell people that I genuinely love what I do because I genuinely love Bowie State University. My path here was very indirect. I spent my first maybe 10 years in higher ed. I left for a family decision, and when it was time to come back, Bowie State University welcomed me with open arms.
Wow.
So I'm always grateful to Bowie State for that, and just understanding that these students come here with a vision, with a purpose. They come here with a life story that may have some negative impact, and they're trying to work their way through it.
Yeah.
So we genuinely have to be the village to help them work their way through it. And so that's my motivation. So whether it's, every time I get paid, $18.65 comes out of my paycheck to Bowie State University.
Oh, mine too. I do that too.
That's
okay.
right. $18.65 matters. And so Also, working on volunteering for numerous committees on campus. I genuinely make sure that I'm giving up my time, my talent, and my treasure to Bowie State.
Thank you. Aaliyah, how does that show up in real life for you? How does giving show up in real life? Oh, I'm gonna let you get there, Brian.
So for me, and I thank you for sharing, Ms. Bowie, because college was not in my, forefront, wasn't an option for me. I remember my guidance counselor actually even asking me, "You sure you want to apply to all 7 of those schools?" Like as if to say, I couldn't make it. And so I did apply to all 7, and I actually got accepted to all 7. Morgan State is my alma mater. We're sister schools. I love Bowie, nevertheless. But I am a product of what my division does. Like Carla said earlier, if it wasn't for the institutional advancement scholarship at Morgan State, I wouldn't have been able to finish my matriculation. Working here now, because the full picture wasn't painted for me, I didn't fully understand what was happening in the back. I also was a recipient of the Time Joyner Morning Time Joyner Morning Show scholarship, and that was $10,000 from a stranger, right, who just felt like education needs to be invested in, and so I was grateful for that. And so to go back to what I was saying, working here now, I fully understand full circle what it means to have alumni or other, political constituents from the external communities to pour into these institutions. And now since I'm back, I'm like, I got to set something up at my alma mater too. So I give back, like you said, Steve, and your time, talents, and treasures in the different ways. But when you see how you were impacted and you get a different level of gratitude, you now realize this is something way bigger than me. And so I have to pursue something way bigger than me. And given in that aspect is that. So that's what it is for me. It's something bigger than me, but I'm a product of it. And so because I'm a product of it, I understand the importance of it.
That's right.
Brian, what does giving look like in your real life? Do you give to other organizations your time? And you have a lot of talent. I see you everywhere. Right. And so, I'm wondering, I'm wondering, like, how does that show up, like, in real life as you're moving around?
My man Steve said it. I'm glad he's here because I'm about to piggyback off what you was talking about. Mm-hmm. But where I'm at right now in my life, I think a lot of alumni who look at social media, they kind of depict like, okay, that's the way that you give back. So if I can't give back that way, then I really can't give back, right? Mm-hmm. And that's kind of how I thought as well. But my man Steve, man, I don't want to get too emotional, but like that Go Fetch era, that thing of walking around here and creating content all the time has really evolved into this Mr. B's office. Just coming by, I just want to sit in your office and talk to you about whatever. Yeah. And at first it was kind of annoying, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm just so used to just grabbing the camera and just getting the content. Because that's just what I did. You know what I'm saying? But now, like, my way of giving back is just having an office, having a chair or two in that office, and just shutting up and letting students say whatever they want to say.
That's rich.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, I think that a lot of times, again, like Steve, you told me that, it used to be times it was just me and him in the office, and I'm just talking about whatever I want to talk about, whether it may be Marvel movies or things like that, you know what I mean? But like, that's kind of tough as a student when you just kind of need that safe space. Sometimes you don't even really need someone to talk to. You just need somewhere to just go and just be quiet for a little bit, just as long as you got somebody there. So, my way of giving back now is what, my ears?
Oh, good. That's good stuff. That's good stuff, Brian. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm glad you didn't drop the mic because this is expensive equipment, but that was a mic drop. And so, for me, I give back on boards. If my family's listening, they're probably like, she on too many boards. But, I had a quick story, 5 children, sent all 5 of them to college. They have college degrees. 4 of them have master's degrees or above. To this day, I'm like, ooh, I'm still living after doing all that. But they were on scholarships that other people gave. They kept their academics up and all of that. But it wasn't enough for my children to have that kind of education. So I sit on a lot of educational boards because right now I'm on the board for Baltimore Leadership School for Young Women. Shout out to Baltimore Leadership School because we have about 18 students right here at Bowie State University.
Mm-hmm.
I sit on the board of Baltimore City College. We have about 10 students from Baltimore City College right here at Bowie State University. And I like when my worlds collide. And so part of my giving back is, with my money, that's one thing, but also because I know how expensive college is. Yeah. I know that every parent's dream is for their child to have an education. Being a parent just wants them to have a piece of paper that will give them a step up. If I know some things that can help them get that step up, then I feel like I need to be in that room, right? And so, again, going back to the time, talent, and the treasure, it's about what is my capacity, what is my privilege. You got to know your privilege, and privilege is to open the door for somebody else who doesn't have that privilege, right? And so that's in the way that I get back, that I know that you all get back. Look, we could talk all day about this giving, but I gotta end up here with you all because I really want to get into the nuts and bolts of why giving at Bowie just hits different. You chose to come to Bowie State University. You chose to work at Bowie State University. You chose to go to Bowie State University. You chose to serve at Bowie State University. Why Bowie? Why does giving and why does your impact of whatever it is, your money, your time, your talent, why does that hit different at Bowie State University? And I want everybody to answer this question as we get ready to end this segment. I'm going to start with Mr. Turner.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Bowie State University for me is in my backyard. So, like you, I serve on and I'm now able to serve on the other boards and other areas. I've given back to both my undergraduate and to my law school because I know I receive benefit like many here. So, it's that situation where it's an opportunity for me to directly impact in my own community, which is important to me. I live here. I made a decision. I always told it, I'm Prince Georgian by choice, as opposed to those who are born here. They have a little bit of issue if you're not born here for some reason. But it's one of those situations. I chose to be here, chose to raise my family here, and I chose my public service career here. And so that's just an extension now with Bowie State being here in the Bowie community and in Prince George's County. The city and county that I love. So,
thank you. I'm going to go to this end. Brian, why Bowie? Why put so much effort and energy into Bowie?
Because Bowie gave me all the opportunities that I got right now.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So it's that I remember going here and being that student that kind of needed someone to talk to, and when you got like a passion for something,
yes,
you want to be able to, share it with people, right? And Bowie State gave me that opportunity to not just share it with people, but build on top of it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So not just, I'm not just the only person that's benefiting from it. Now, like even with our platform, Experience Bowie State, like I want to say regular students, but regular students just get to hop on it and be highlighted.
Yes.
And auntie and mom and little brother can kind of see them and be like, oh yeah, that's my family going to Bowie State. So yeah, why Bowie? Yeah, because why not?
Yeah, why not? I like that. Aaliyah, you chose to come to Bowie State University to work. Could have worked anywhere. Why Bowie?
So I won't go too deep, but I really
because we're on a time schedule.
Yes,
so
I genuinely felt led to Bowie State, and since I have been here, you used the word that I was going to use as well, which is I feel so privileged to be here as I consistently learn the history and have been able to see and witness the elevation of Bowie State. It's admirable and an honor. So. Why not? I totally agree. It's a bold thing, and I'm here for it. I am.
I like it. Steve.
So just real quick, I do want to highlight because the conversation that Brian talked about coming into my office is just a true blessing to see this full circle moment and see him doing the same thing for other people. That really resonates with my heart. Now to your question, wow. I'm a third generation HBCU graduate. Both my grandparents graduated from HBCUs. My mother attended an HBCU. And so anything that is for the upliftment and advancement of not just our people, but people in general, I fully support. And so Bowie State is an opportunity. It is all things to all people, and I feel like Bowie State has blessed me tremendously.
Yeah.
So again, and it's funny when you said why Bowie State, I thought why not Bowie State? It is really in the crown jewel of Prince George's County. And I feel like if you understand the history of Prince George's County, then you understand the importance of Bowie State University.
Yes.
And so why not Bowie State University?
I'm going to end with the bold and the beautiful and the brilliant Miss Bowie State on this question. You chose Bowie State. You could have gone other places.
Not many people know, but I did go somewhere else.
Okay.
I started off at another institution. I didn't like it there. I left, and I was willing to give it all up. I graduated high school with a 4.2, and I told my parents, hey, I was going to have to leave it there. I felt like school wasn't for me anymore. I was willing to let it all go to waste. And then one day I just said, you know what? I'm home. I'm going to apply to Bowie State. I applied, and the honors program reached out to me, and they told me that, hey, we need you to hop on a Zoom call right now. And they told me that they had a full ride.
Come on, Bowie State.
They had a full ride on file for me. And so I remember going downstairs and saying, Mom, like, I know I was going to give up, but I can't let it go to waste. They want to invest in me, so I have to do it. And so just, like, listening to everybody here, I don't think you guys understand, like, giving is important, but the people that receive it on the other end is so surreal for me to even be able to sit here, because if it wasn't for somebody investing in me, I wouldn't be here today. I was able to come here, join the band, join my organization, and stand before you as Miss Bowie State University, when at one point I wasn't even going to come back to school.
Wow.
And it's because somebody gave back to me. So because the honors department believed in me, not only am I graduating, but I'm graduating within 3 years of me being here. So it's those little key points like that. It's being able to walk in Mr. V's office and I'm having a day and he's saying, Queen, put a smile on your face. You got this. It's having those different people that didn't want to see me give up, because it wasn't, a lot of people, they'll help you push you in the door, but they don't help you walk through it. When I got here, they helped me walk through it. They helped me keep going.
Yeah.
Even on those times where I have doctor's appointments, life still happens. We're college students. But the people here, this institution itself, it's just something I will never forget. It takes a village to raise a leader, and you guys produce one.
Yes, we did. Absolutely, Queen. Yes. I mean, Bowie State University helped me.
That's why Bowie.
Why Bowie?
Bowie State University even helped this little host achieve her dream. I've been in higher ed for 32 years. The last institution I was at never worked at a HBCU. A product of a HBCU, worked at predominantly white institutions. I said, literally, God, if you give me an opportunity to end my career, please let it be at a HBCU. Let me take everything I've learned from these other institutions and let me try to give it some capacity for people who look like me, for students who look like me, for colleagues who look like me. And then in 2019, I got an opportunity to be at Bowie State University. And so why not Bowie? I think you said it well. Why not? Let me tell you, this panel is amazing. No, y'all can't have them. They're my panel. But give our panel a round of applause for having this really transparent, vulnerable discussion. It's hard to talk about money sometimes, and sometimes people think philanthropy is just about money. But we have expanded the notion. We have talked about how it's not just about money. It is about your time. It is about your talent. And when it is about your money, it's not necessarily about these great, big, grand check presentations of money. It's about your consistency and your commitment. I can't thank you all enough for being transparent and vulnerable, for sharing your stories, for being inspiring and encouraging for the next generation of givers. Look, this is the last podcast of the semester, but we have been having riveting conversations all semester long, and we know that our studio audience is going to come on back in the second semester and join us for another few podcasts of A Bold Take. Let me tell you, happy holidays to everyone. Enjoy your family, enjoy your friends, enjoy all of the things. Be safe, and we're looking forward to coming back and having riveting conversations about what's going on in our community and beyond with our community history makers and game changers. You've been listening to A Bold Take at WBSU Podcast World. We'll see you next time.
All right.